Hi, I'm Linda Tilson, and I would like to welcome and thank you for becoming a mentor as part of the Mentor You Global program. And in today's instructional video, I would like to share with you 5 different areas. And so what we will talk about is what mentoring is and what it is not. We will discuss the effective rules of engagement. We will talk about the process from beginning to end and how it should work. I will be giving you a tool that you can use to guide your conversations. And lastly, I want you to know what you should do and who you can contact if you need help at any stage in the process. And so with that, let's go ahead and get started about what mentoring is and what it is not. So a lot of people think that mentoring is a way to advance in your career, to build relationships that will further you, and to learn about areas that you would like an expertise. And so all 3 of those things are outcomes that can happen. What a mentor relationship is there's a mentee who is looking to talk to someone that has experience in either a skill set or an industry that they're interested in. And so it's all based on the mentee driving the process. And what I mean by that is it's not the role of the mentor to guide the process from beginning to end. It's about the mentee coming to the table and explaining what it is that they would like to learn, what it is they'd like to know, and what their outcome is that they're expecting from this experience. And so by talking about that up front, then what the mentor will be doing is having those conversations where they're asking those critical questions in a way to get the person to think more deeply about how they're going to put together an action plan to start achieving some of those goals. And those, again, are defined by the mentee with the mentor's support. And so one of the most important things I would like to talk about is the rules of engagement. And so rule number 1 is the mentor and the mentee need to respect everyone's time. There are only so many hours in the day, and so life does happen, and there's times where maybe we're not going to be able to commit to the time that we agreed to, but what we are expected to do is to communicate that when you know it. And so everyone is expected to be flexible, but I want everyone to respect each other's time. So that is the number 1 rule of engagement, and if you can do that particular thing, then the rest of it will fall into place. And so the next thing I want to talk about is the process. So how this will work is that you'll meet your mentee, you will talk about a mutual frequency and method of meeting, and then I'm going to lead you right now through a 5-question format that will make the interaction flow more freely and also have some results that come out of each and every session. And so let's go ahead and begin on those questions. So the very first question that you will be asking your mentee is, what is your target or goal that you want to achieve? And the reason why you ask that question is because you want to understand why they want the mentor relationship and some of the things that they're looking for your advice or your experience on. That will help set the stage for the future conversation. Then the next question is, where is it that you want to be and where do you want to end up? And so you can't make progress if you don't have a place to start from. So if they can tell you what they want to achieve, and then they can say, this is where I hope to end up by the time our relationship is near the end, then that's going to give the mentor some areas of questioning that they can ask when they're meeting with their mentee. And then this one is really important, and it doesn't always get asked, but you really want to know when you're talking to your mentee if there's anything that's preventing them from reaching their goal. Because if you can understand where the barriers are, then that's where that practical experience is that a mentor can use their background to say, you know, when I was in that place, these are some of the things I had to do to overcome that. And so that's where the learning starts to happen, is when you can talk about the things that are preventing the person from getting from A to Z. And then one of the other questions that you want to ask is, what are your next steps and how do you know that you've achieved those things? And so by that, if you're trying to achieve a goal, you need to know the different steps you need to take in order to get there. Usually they're incremental, they're consistent, and over time, there are ways you can tell if you got there or you did not. And so it gets the mentee to think about what it is that they need to do to be taking action, because action is where the learning is. And then the last question will be, is how will you know when you've gotten there? So it's a little bit of the 4 questions combined to the 5th one. And so they're knowing where they want to go. They are knowing where they want to end up. They know what their barriers are. They have an idea of what steps they need to be taking to move closer towards that goal. But the last one is really important because they won't know if they got there if they haven't thought about what that should look like. And so that one's really important. And so if you use this format in each and every interaction, then it will keep the conversation moving, and there will actually be some type of homework assignment that the mentee can be working on. Because each time you end the meeting and you're setting up your time for the next one, you should be having them work on something that they can either have a discussion on or something that they're trying and giving feedback when they come back to meet. That's what keeps the engagement moving in the right direction. It's what keeps things interesting, and it really will help the mentee to be able to have some type of format that they can follow. So that way it isn't a get on the conversation and just, how's the weather? Oh, what have you been up to? You're going to have a more guided conversation. And those other things I mentioned are important too. You don't want to forget those, but you want to use the time that you do have in the way that will bring the most benefit. And by putting some structure on it, it makes it so much easier. And so last but not least, I want you to know who you should contact if you need help. And so what you can do is you can put together an email and address it to wementoryouglobally@gmail.com. Again, that's wementoryouglobally@gmail.com. And if I were you, I put in the subject line a little bit about the question that you're having. And so it could mean that you need more structure. It could mean that you need to have some more illustrative examples of how to effectively run a mentor meeting. Whatever that is, we will help you. If you have an issue where the person on the other end isn't showing up and doing their part, we need to have that conversation too, because there's things that will happen when people don't show up and put their skin in the game to move forward. And so we can help you with that too. And so I want to thank you for becoming mentors. It's one of the most rewarding experiences that you'll ever have. And again, if you need any help, you send the email. We will have someone personally contact you. It might even be me. And we will be having some check-ins as the process is going. And I hope that we will put together some other training videos that will take a deeper dive into the relationship and how you know it's working. And so with that, I leave you with this message, and that is, go out there, be the impact to help change somebody's life, and those people will never forget the experience, and that's what it's about.